Today's story is called The Fig Tree Without Any Figs. Now, this was another story that Jesus told. Remember, when Jesus was on earth, there were crowds of people and Jesus' special friends that would all come and listen to the stories that Jesus had to tell. All of the stories that Jesus had to share were like messages from God. So when God had brought Jesus into the earth as a baby, he had brought him to be a teacher and to bring the messages to all of the people that God himself would like them to hear. They were messages that helped people to make good choices, to show love and not broken love. Now, today was like any other day where Jesus was talking to the people. And today's story was called The Fig Tree Without Any Figs. So Jesus started to explain. Once there was a gardener. So here's our gardener. Now the gardener had trees in his garden, fig trees. So here are the trees. Now these trees were looked after very carefully every day by the gardener. The gardener would come in to the garden and he would water the trees and the plants that he cared for. He'd come in every single day and both of the trees were looked after in the same way. Now just imagine for a minute that the trees were like people, okay? And the same way that the gardener looked after the trees, God would look after, he would come and he would look after both of the people. They were the same. The trees lived in the man's garden and these people lived in God's world. Okay, so every day the gardener would do the same thing and come and look after his garden and everything that lived in it. Now, this tree had the same amount of water and the same amount of sunlight and the same amount of care. And this tree grew lots of figs. Okay? Lots and lots of fruit. But this tree didn't grow any. Or maybe sometimes it might grow a little bit of fruit, but then the fruit would fall off and disappear and go away. Now, eventually, the gardener looked at his beautiful garden and he really wanted the garden to be full of trees like this one that grew lots of fruit, because this fruit told the gardener that the tree was doing well, that it was doing good things. And so it's a little bit like us. If we are doing well and doing good things, then we might be a bit like the fruit. So let's think of some things. So things like making kind choices. Okay, things like doing your best, so trying hard, so doing your best. Things like showing love. Okay, being helpful. Okay, maybe things like when you share, when you choose to share. Okay, and other things like by showing good manners, saying your pleases and thank yous and always being careful about the words that you say. Okay, so they're a little bit like the good fruit that people can be like. So all of those things are things like the good fruit from the tree. They're the things that God looks for. Okay, God looks for those things because those things are showing love, and that's what God created all of the people to do. He created every single person to love in the same way that he loves. And so when the gardener looks at the garden, He loves this tree and he thinks, yes, this is a good tree and it's a tree that I would love to have in my garden. But when the gardener looks at this tree and he sees that there is no fruit on the tree, and then he thinks about this person and he sees that maybe this person isn't doing any of these things to show love, then actually the gardener and God are a bit similar. The gardener might think, well, actually, I don't think I'll have that tree in my garden anymore. And he might take the tree down. And actually, God might think, if there is only people on the earth that are showing broken love all the time, and they are doing the opposite of these things, then maybe these are the people that he won't share his kingdom with. Because God tells us that one day he'll have a new world, a world that he will like to share with us, but that world can only be full of really good things, things that show love all of the time. There is no place in God's new world, in his kingdom, where broken love will be. Broken love will be gone. And so all of the broken love things will go away with it. And so that's our story today about how God is looking for people to share his kingdom with that are showing all of these wonderful things, like showing love like he made us to.